There's a sign with the word museum, which rules out the possibility that it's a library. I'll go back there later. Now I have to find a way to obtain the volume Properties of Concrete from the library. I don't know how, but I hope it might come in handy. I don't think that dragging this barrel of over 100 liters would benefit me a lot. I don't think I should use it on the book. Let's try. It worked! Check out what we have here. Let's see what it is. It's another letter from my father. It's dated July 22nd, 2008, earlier than the other one. There's also a piece of paper that seems more ancient, but I can't figure out what it is. Better take a look right now. If Dad did all this so that I'd find it, there must be something important. Now I understand what the piece of paper was that I found with the letter. Dad always performed great feats, but I never imagined he was looking for kids' treasure. It has always been said that it was basically a legend. I don't remember the complete story exactly, but maybe the librarian can help me. And I have a list of names. Better start asking information of the townsfolk, without attracting too much attention. I don't need my father's old library card anymore. Even if someone found it, it would be useless. I have the letter and the piece of map belonging to my dad. Can you repeat what you know about my father?
Henry had a natural gift with people, achieved success, loved reading, and he didn't have any enemies, at least here in Bonetown. Besides the fact that he disappeared 10 years ago, I wouldn't know what else to say.
Am I wrong, or did you tell me your name is Margaret Teach?
That's correct.
Do you know a man named Charles Teach?
Your question surprises me. How do you know my great-great-grandfather?
I'm doing some research on the genealogy of Bonetown, and I stumbled upon the Teach family.
Yes, it's been several generations now since the Teaches settled in Bonetown.
What can you tell me about Charles Teach in particular?
He was the one who brought the name Teach here to Bonetown, but of his past, little is known. My great-grandma told me that he was a former fisherman with a knack for books. This library is a donation he made to the city of Bonetown just before he died. After he arrived here in Bonetown, he devoted himself exclusively to reading, and many of these books were bought directly by him. He had so many of them that he basically founded the town library, which then became the family business for the following generations, too.
And he didn't leave anything else apart from the books?
All he left is stored on the upper floor, but it's mostly junk. The real treasure was his books. There's also an old crate without a key, but it looks empty.
Do you by any chance know the story of Captain William Kidd?
Sure, it is mostly a legend. In the golden era of piracy, Kid stood out for his endeavors, if you could call them that.
The endeavors of a pirate aren't exactly heroic most of the time.
Anyway, his ship, the Adventure Galley, was supposedly filled with treasures when it suddenly disappeared. A few years later, in 1701, Kid was captured and executed, but his ship and the crew were never found.
What do you think happened?
What always happened at that time? Kid and his crew squandered all the loot, and to cover their tracks, they sold or even burned the ship. After this story, Kid became legendary.
Thank you. Thanks, and goodbye.
Thank you for visiting the Bonetown Library. If you need a specific book, you can ask me, Miss Teach, or just Margaret.
Thanks, I'll keep that in mind. Very strange. I have the feeling I'm being watched. Better be careful. You never know what can happen in Bonetown. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning. I'm sorry, do we know each other?
It's been a while, hasn't it, Uncle Steve?
Uncle Steve? There was only one child that called me that. It can't be. Willy, is that really you?
Yes, Steve, it's really me, Willy Morgan.
Son, how are you? Sorry if I don't get up, but my back is killing me. Sitting here all day is bad for my health.
All good, Steve. Thank you.
Tell me, what brought you back to Bonetown? It's been years since the last time I saw you.
I've been missing Bonetown.
I can hardly believe it. Lately, nobody ever comes back to Bonetown.
For the anniversary of my dad's disappearance, it's been 10 years. I was thinking of swinging by the cemetery.
Already 10 years? Time seems to have stopped in Bonetown since then. I sought refuge in my job to forget. I don't see your mother. Does she know you're here?
I told her I was leaving. She's away on a business trip.
How is she? I tried many times to contact you in recent years, but she never answered.
It was very tough for her, too. She preferred to make a clean break from the past, concentrating on me and her job. Bonetown is a memory that still hurts a lot.
I understand.
How are things going here in Bonetown?
Not very well, I'd say. It's becoming harder and harder to run Bonetown. People leave, and the problems are constantly increasing.
Yes, when I got here, I had problems parking my bike.
Parking problems as well? That too must go on the list.
I saw some construction work on the buildings.
That's one of the bigger problems in the city. It seems that our water resources are drying up. Some people say that upriver, certain companies have been doing excavations that caused the fracturing of some faults. But I launched an investigation, and there's no correlation. So I'm trying to solve the problem by recovering rainwater. And at the moment, it seems to be working.
I hope so, for Bonetown. Do you remember what happened to my father?
It's always painful for me to talk about Henry. We grew up almost like brothers, before he decided to leave and become one of the most famous archaeologists in the world. Despite his work, he always found the time to come back here to the family, and to meet his old friends. Unfortunately, his disappearance is still shrouded in mystery. The night before that fateful day, we went out together. We said goodbye in front of the old inn, where he was staying. The next morning, I stopped by to say hello, but there was no trace of him. His room was intact. The innkeeper said he didn't see him going out. That's all I know. Since then, I've been racking my brain to understand what happened, but Henry seems to have vanished into thin air.
Just like Mom always tells me. Do you, by any chance, know what Dad was working on?
I wouldn't know. Whenever he'd come to Bonetown, he told us fantastic stories of the places he explored. It felt like we were there with him.
Dad was always an exceptional narrator. When he told me a story before bed, I couldn't sleep right away, but instead spent a good part of the night fantasizing.
He used to do the same thing with us here in Bonetown. Everyone was enthralled by him.
Do you remember what happened to my father?
It's always painful for me to talk about Henry. We grew up almost like brothers, before he decided to leave and become one of the most famous archaeologists in the world. But despite his work, he always found the time to come back here to the family, and to meet his old friends. Unfortunately, his disappearance is still shrouded in mystery. The night before that fateful day, we went out together. We said goodbye in front of the old inn, where he was staying. The next morning, I stopped by to say hello. There was no trace of him. His room was intact. The innkeeper said he didn't see him going out. That's all I know. Since then, I've been racking my...
Just like Mom. See you later.
Come back whenever you want. You'll always find me here.
Thanks. Better ask for permission. I'd risk looking like a thief. Can I borrow a stamp?
Of course, as long as you use it responsibly. Even if they're dated back, they're the official stamps of Bonetown.
Thanks. I'll use them well.
Actually, when you're finished with your stuff, you can help me out with that stamp. I have a lot of paperwork to authenticate.
Gladly. See you later.
Come back whenever you want. You'll always find me here.
Thanks.